I would say from personal experience, when you're pursuing a goal that you want and you're not getting what you want, remind yourself that you're trying your best and that's the best that you can do, even if you're not getting what it is that you want. It's not the point of trying for a goal.
That was Nico Young back today on the Running Effect podcast. If you're not familiar with Nico Young, you've probably been living under a rock for the past few years, because this guy is an absolute stud and he's been crushing it ever since his high school years. I was going to say high school years, probably ever since he put one foot in front of the other and discovered the sport of running. This guy has been at the top of the game, and 2025 was his most successful year yet. He set an American record in the 5K. He won the Oslo Diamond League. He won a Grand Slam track in Philadelphia. He won a U.S. national title in the 10K, and he went on to place fifth at the 2025 World Championships in the 10K, held in Tokyo, Japan, and he's just getting started. And did I mention that was literally his first full year as a pro? So the guy was a rookie. He's on an absolute tear, and he has a career that is so worth following and so worth cheering for. I always love my conversations with Nico. I had the privilege of having him on a few years ago when he was at NAU, and every year he seems to do something legendary. So really appreciated this deep dive conversation into his historically successful 2025 year and talking about the future, World Cross coming in 2026, his plans and ambitions for it, and so much more. If you enjoy this one, guys, give us a 5-star review. It takes next to no time to do so. Hit the follow button so you don't miss more conversations with top athletes like Nico, and make sure you share this podcast with a friend. That is the easiest way in which we can grow. I hope you guys enjoy this one as much as I did. Without further ado, enjoy my conversation, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Nico Young. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not just back. He's a whole new human being. He is better. He is winning U.S. national titles. He's running times unfathomable. A few years ago, he was a stud at Northern Arizona when we last spoke to him. And he's gone on to do everything that we knew he would do. Ladies and gentlemen, Nico Young. Nico, how you doing, man?
Good. Thank you for having me.
What's the craziest part? I mean, I could read off the stats over the last 18 months. What surprises you the most, or do you even get surprised by your own excellence and success?
I mean, I'd say this year as a whole surprised me. Like, it's surprising, but it's also not surprising. I'd say the most surprising thing was most surprising performance was winning Oslo and setting American record there. After that, I was like, shoot, I have a chance of medaling. That was like when things really changed. Didn't expect that my first year as a pro, but a lot of arrows were pointing in that direction prior to that.
What do you think has led up to this point in terms of, you've been working hard for many years in this sport, but for a lot of athletes, it takes a lot of years for all that hard work to come to fruition. You seem to be a pro that rookie year. Well, why do you think it clicked so fast for you?
Well, I definitely think I was lucky in a lot of ways to be able to stay in Flagstaff, where I went to college, training under the same coach with some of the same teammates that I had trained with in college prior. I even got to do some stuff with NAU, which was cool. That definitely made the transition really easy. Also in terms of friends, social life, kind of was just like seamless, as if I was in a fifth year of school or something like that. But I mean, I've also had, at this point, many years of consistency and training. So I think this was just another year built on top of that, then minus school and other things going on allowed me to really push training.
Do you find that's something when you talk with other athletes that can hold them back, not necessarily as a bad thing, but just like it's pretty assumed that you go to college, you go to high school to college, you get a new coach, and then you go to college to pro, you get a new coach. Whereas, as you said there, really nothing changed at all. Location didn't change. Teammates didn't even really change. Coach certainly didn't change. Can you speak to how smooth of a transition it was and how much that probably benefited you over the average rookie who would have to move across the country? And a lot of people, like, in flag, it's like they go to flag and it's their first time ever at altitude. That could take years to get adjusted to.
Yeah, the altitude part, I didn't even mention that. That's so true. I mean, yeah, the transition was so easy for all of those reasons. I don't know if I went somewhere else and had to move and create a new environment somewhere else, if that would have changed anything. I mean, I'm seeing now with the the new guys that we're training with, like Parker, Ethan, Liam, their transition has seemed to be very easy. So, I think a lot of those things last year attributed to the success that I had, but I see these guys like already ready to go right now, and they had to make that transition and to altitude, and with a new group, new coach, and they're doing great.
Decision to stay with Mike, what was behind that? Obviously had a lot of success in college, but you were so good you really could have chosen anyone, any setup. Why Flag, and why Coach Smith?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. He, I mean, he had confidence in me from the moment that I committed to NAU in high school. He um, had been by my side throughout all of college, and we in college we kind of organized my training based on like a 10-year plan almost. So it seemed very natural to continue training under him. Our relationship also is really good, and we're able to be honest with each other about training, and I think we have a really good partnership in terms of that. Starting something new could have definitely gone in that direction, but there's a lot more that I want to do, being coached by him, and he makes that very easy for me.
Let's talk about a cool moment, Nico. This would have been your senior year of high school. So you were an absolute dog in high school. I mean, just one of the greatest to ever do it. And at the time, I'm a few years younger than you. I was coming up in the sport. I was like, this is the guy, this is the marquee guy to look up to. And it always feels cool when it's like, I know I'm never going to be Nico Young, but at least I get to live in a generation where there's Nico Young, because you have your Bob Kennedys or your Jim Ryans, and those old heads talk about what it was like seeing their success. So it was cool growing up with you. And then there's this thing called COVID that happens, and it's like, oh shit, like, oh man, I don't know if Nico's going to get his senior year track season and be able to do all the things that he probably could do with how dominant you were in cross. And you set up this time trial in the 5K. And I think there was like murmurs going around that Galen was potentially going to pace it because he held the record at the time. Also, spoiler alert, your brother went on to break it, which is kind of a cool full circle moment. But you had this attempt. Galen didn't pace it, but he was present there. And I think you had looked up to him as an athlete. And then here we are, like 5-6 years later, and your teammates with the guy. How cool is that? How full circle is that to be able to? I don't think Galen's there full time, but I know you guys will train with each other occasionally. How cool is that?
It's very cool. I mean, I've seen so many similarities in my progression as an athlete with his, in terms of high school to college and now to pro. Um, I know other people have noticed that too. So, I mean, he's always been somebody that I've looked up to. Uh, yeah, unfortunately, he didn't get to pace me in that 5K in high school, but he was there to watch, which was awesome. And yeah, to now for him to be a training partner, it's been cool to kind of see how he does things. Um, he's a very focused guy, so it's very motivating.
What are some of the standout lessons you've learned from some of the older guys on the team, like Rupp, Brazier, even a guy who used to be teammates with Luis Grijalva, a few years older, has raced on the Diamond League circuit for a few more years. How much value do you see being on a team with guys that might not even necessarily be in every single workout with you, but are always one text or phone call away if you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very cool to have so many people in the group right now that are at all different points in their career and in a variety of events as well. Um, yeah, so definitely like I've spent a lot of time training with Woody. I'd say more than some of the other older guys that are on the team. It's it's cool to learn from somebody like him who's taken his career on the track very far. He's in his early 30s, and he's still killing it on the track. I think that's he's had a lot of tips on longevity and kind of how to keep that thing going. But I would say like the main thing that I've learned from watching my teammates and people like Luis and Abdi Hamid is that even when things are consistent, and things are going well, and that has been the case for me, for a while, is injuries and interruptions still come up, and these guys have that confidence and that motivation to recognize that a lot of those things are just interruptions, and that we can come back together as a team and still be ready to compete no matter what time is lost.
I think I said this to Drew on my recent conversation with him. I was like, if you go back 5 years and you were to create like a fantasy super league team, it would probably be what Mike Smith's crew has become with Rob Brazier, you, Ethan, Parker, Liam, Woody, Abdi Ahmed, Luis. Like the list goes on. I'm sure I'm missing guys. How crazy is it to sit down, look at the list of names, and be like, we are freaking packed at every distance. The talent is crazy. The work ethic is crazy. What's it like being a part of that squad?
It's crazy. I mean, I think getting Parker and Ethan this year was like that was incredible. Like I didn't know where they were going to go. They had every option, So like getting the two of them, who are right around the same age as me, as well as Drew, and Liam is. I mean, we've got a huge group of young guys who are some of the best guys in the country. So that's super incredible. And then we have people like Woody, who has made many teams. Luis, who has had so much global experience. Abdi Hamid has won a U.S. title, multiple U.S. titles. Uh, yeah, I mean, and Donovan. It's pretty incredible to be surrounded by guys who are, the best in the world in each event that everyone's in.
In a theoretical world, would you rather do a 800-meter workout with Donovan or a marathon workout with Rupp?
An 800 workout with Donovan. I've done that before. Not like quite total 800, but close to it.
How did that go?
It was good. That was when he was coming back, so we did the same workout, but now I don't think we would do the same workout. So
Is it crazy to see his like absolute explosiveness? I saw a video
yeah,
of him running once at like full speed, and I was like, he looks like a robot. This doesn't look real.
yeah, his acceleration is ridiculous. He like will start at 200 and he'll start slow, and then like halfway through the first 100, he'll just like accelerate. And usually, like I feel like for a distance runner, you start at 200 and you just go right off the bat. He just like can move so easily. It's crazy.
We obviously talked about you still being in flag. Is it weird, this time of year where it's like, okay, conference would have happened, you'd be gearing out for regionals and then nationals back to back. Are you at the point where you're not waking up every Friday or Saturday with stress thinking it's travel day to go race somewhere? Or are you pretty, removed or still in it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely don't have those concerns. I don't race for a while. Um, but I totally miss the college cross country season. You don't get that time back. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to see the NAU guys who just raced conference like last week. And I'm like, I feel like I'm at the beginning, like very beginning of my season. And I remember what that time was like in college.
Yeah, is it weird? Obviously, the college, correct me if I'm wrong. I've never been a pro runner. I'll never be a pro runner, and I didn't even run D1. So I'm totally speaking out of my butt here. But I feel like the college schedule is low key harder than the pro schedule if you're really good, because you've got you train all summer, you have cross, and then you do BU right after. You might get a little bit of a break, but then you kind of go right back into it for indoor, and then there's not really much of a break because you got outdoor right away. Specifically, if you're really good, you're doing like the sound running 10K. And then if you're really, really good, you go to USA's and then and it's just like almost a full calendar year. Whereas pro, you really circle down the 3, 4 big meets and you can kind of tailor your training and schedule around that. Has that been much of a shift or much of a breath of relief that you don't really have to be on, multiple times a month throughout the year?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest differences between college and pro, and being able to maximize your performance is getting to choose your schedule like that. I miss the craziness of college and cross country, indoor conference, outdoor conference, and all of that. And then some years USA's. But I think that's why I ran so well this past spring, was because I could just focus and train for a majority of that time. I think there was a little bit of like my peak kind of was, I think I was in better fitness for the Philadelphia Grand Slam race, as well as the Oslo Diamond League, than maybe I was for the USA meet and Worlds. But I think that was some other training pieces and not really due to racing a lot. But in college, it's so much harder. You just have so much less control over that.
Are you doing many, like this time of year, the base building phase? You do many of the same workouts you do in college, like Buffalo Park tempo runs, hill repeats there, or has the training shifted quite a bit as a pro?
Yeah, it's right now we're kind of doing a lot of aerobic stuff. So we're at Buffalo Park a lot for sure. We're actually going to be there tomorrow morning. But we're doing a lot of threshold, running a lot of miles. I'd say a lot of that is pretty similar to college. Haven't been doing many long extended like sub threshold reps like we would do in college. Um, but the meat of the training is pretty similar. And I feel like with the onset of the popularity of threshold right now, that's kind of something that we're trying to maximize. So that's definitely like a big meat, like portion of the training.
How much would you say, if at all, Coach Smith has changed in terms of you experienced him in the context of a massive team culture with 18 to 23, 24 year olds and a bunch of them versus now there's, way less people, way more concentrated. You may be, see him less days of the week. How do you feel like he's changed, if at all, as a coach, just in the different, training environments you've got to experience him in?
Yeah, he definitely has a lot more time now, which is good. I know that's something that he was really excited about leaving college. Um, yeah, he seems very relaxed and excited for what this group has to offer. He's got another kid now, so that's an exciting thing in his life, and I think has maybe softened him up a little bit. Um, but yeah, I know he's like always going to miss the college scene. It's cool and to be so close to it still, though, here.
So is he more rah rah in college than he is as a pro? No team meetings where you guys get fired up.
Oh, we do still do some of that. Um, I think he's taking some of the team culture pieces from NAU and brought that to the pro environment, which has been fantastic.
How in touch do you stay with the current NAU team, and where does your loyalty lie? Lex and Leo on Stanford. Who are you? But you also know so many people across the NCAA. Like when you're watching NCAA cross, who are you rooting for?
Oh man, I'm always rooting for Lex and Leo. Um, I got to meet some of their team a couple weeks ago. I like them a lot, but I'm always going to be rooting for the NAU team. That's for sure. Um, yeah, very good friends with Colin Solomon, obviously. So I'm always rooting for him. I'd say like I can be a bit more unbiased now that I'm out of college in support of Lex and Leo, and then also the NAU guys. So I'd say I can support all of them, even though one of them is going to be the other one. So
I love it. I love it. Um, Looking back on this year, you talked about Diamond League, American record, national title. What race excites you the most when you look back on it and you're like, that race was really fun and I'm really proud of it?
definitely got to travel a lot, which was exciting. But I would say that the Philadelphia Grand Slam was the most exciting one of the season. I didn't know what fitness I was in going into that race, and then being able to win that and close that fast gave me a lot of confidence going into Oslo following. So that was a very exciting race.
Those who watched that race or watched highlights of it, the last 200 is specifically the camera work they use. You kind of really got to experience how fast you were moving. And it was like, wow, this feels like third gear right now from Nico. What does it feel like to change gears in a more tactical race like that? And when you're in the moment there, like, cause I can only visually see it, in the replay with the camera, it looks like you look like I don't know, a Porsche ramping up gears. What does it feel like when you're in Nico Young's body doing that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's I kind of heard Grant say this in an interview after USA's, but he was talking about like when you have that pop, you have it, and you have that gear. Um, and that day I really had it, and it does feel pretty crazy when you do have that because it just feels like you can just keep sprinting. I'd say when you're in the lead and you're winning, it's a lot feels a lot faster. So that definitely helped that kick feel quicker. It's because I was winning it, but uh, yeah, some days you have that, some days you don't. Um, that race was a very slow 3K, so it was definitely easier for me to close quick. I think that's one of the fastest closes I've ever had. So that was definitely pointing in the right direction for the rest of my season. Um, but yeah, the video is pretty incredible. I got to watch that, and it's cool. That was great progress in my closing over the past couple of years. So
I feel like over the years, you were kind of known to be the guy that would just like go balls to the wall from the gun and just like you were just better than everyone. Obviously, once you get to college and then pro, the level playing field is a little more level. And I feel like your kick is something you've really developed throughout the years. What would you say has gone into it? Is it specific training? Is it mindset? Something else?
yeah, I don't. The kick is like I feel like it's such a confusing thing. Like I yeah, my high school didn't really have a kick. Freshman and sophomore year of college wasn't really there, even junior year. And then something kind of just clicked my senior year. I would have attributed that to running mechanics and really understanding my body and how it moves. But I don't know if that was the only variable. I was doing a lot of work then, my senior year of college, on running mechanics and how I could kind of fix some issues that I was having in order to get back to how I wanted to be feeling. And then I kind of like found this like speed element that I didn't really expect through that. But I feel like this year I was running a lot of miles prior to the Grand Slam, um, and I normally wouldn't have thought that that would have helped my kick tremendously, but I really think it did. So I really think it's a combination of consistency and being able to stack training like that, as well as being attentive to how your body's moving. So that also so that you can stay healthy to be able to do those numbers of miles. Um, it's kind of a confusing um, answer to that, but
No, it's all good. I get
there's
you. I get you.
it's there's so many variables that go into that. But I think there are some important ones.
Obviously, at a very like microscopic level, you talk about things like your kick and how good it is. But if you were to design or speak to an athlete listening, and you could instill in them a few virtues that you feel like would take them to the next level, what would those things be that you feel like hold most athletes back from being the truest, best versions of themselves?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I would say keep trying again if what you're getting isn't working out. And that's like kind of across all things, but I would say in terms of like I relate that to me practicing my speed work a lot. It's a very specific thing. I wanted like all of college, I wanted a NCAA title so bad, and I fell short a number of times. A lot of the times because I couldn't close. Um, but I kept coming back to it again and again, knowing that the things I was doing were gonna help that close, and it happened. And sometimes those things don't happen, but I would say the biggest piece of advice is to just keep going at it.
How crazy is it to you? Like you mentioned some of those NCAA races where you fell short, maybe due to lack of closing speed or whatever. But then 2 years later, you're winning the Diamond League because of your closing speed. But you also might say the NCAA is just that stacked, and it's almost like the amateur Diamond League, and it's only getting better. What's your current take and perspective on how deep the NCAA is? I'm sure you have conversations with your brothers about this. Like it's almost unfair how good that it's basically a pro sport
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah. Oh, it totally is. It's so competitive now, and it's only getting more. Um, I mean, I think you can see it in a number of ways. Like, um, yeah, it's harder to win a title, but it's definitely making everything faster. So I think there's a lot of good and bad going on with that. But it's it's pretty crazy to see what's been happening in the NCAA and these fast times being run, and yeah, and seeing how like people are rising to that occasion.
You win a Diamond League, you run 12:45, set an American record, you win a US title, and then you go fifth in the 10K at the World Champs, and that was basically your first full year as a pro. Where do you feel like your mind is at in terms of goals for the upcoming years, and how do you balance that with Mike's kind of process over outcome mindset, where I'm speaking to a guy who might not even be thinking of the outcomes too much? So how do you weigh those things where you probably want to do a lot of big things, but I know the philosophy you guys train by is very much present focused, present oriented.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you have to be like that. Um, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of goals for this next year, some races in mind. But I think how I stay focused and present in the moment is knowing that the training that I'm doing now is gonna um, help those performances that are months further along. And it also comes from I have a lot of trust in Mike, and that he knows what he's doing coaching wise, so that he can plan out those training weeks leading into the season. But yeah, there's definitely like there's focus on outcome, and you have to have that. But the way to get there is the training that's happening now.
You mentioned Grant earlier on in one of your responses, and I wanted to get your opinion and insights on like just the state of American distance running. Obviously, we talked about the NCAA a little bit, but I think the 15 5K. Honestly, every event the U.S. is just ridiculously good in, specifically on the distance side of things. What's your take and perspective, specifically as being one of the people who's leading us and one of the chargers in it, of like, you watch the 10K and you can have hope that an American's going to medal for the first time since Galen. And when Galen was doing it, I couldn't tell you the last time before him, so it's pretty rare.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, yeah, the American distance running is in a crazy spot right now. I think, it's we're seeing like a lot of Americans being able to compete against a lot of um, African countries, which you haven't seen in the past. So it's pretty cool to kind of see across the board, like the 10K at Worlds, like not really knowing like who's going to win or who's going to medal. I think it makes it really thrilling and exciting. Kind of definitely helped me see that I have a chance to medal and to perform like that when the standard is that high for everyone.
Got to ask you, World Cross Country next year. Are we going to be going for the team?
Yes, we are.
Let's go. Let's go. How exciting is that? I asked you questions about the grass a few minutes ago. Entry back into cross country. How do you feel about that? Did you ever think this day would come?
Um, Not really. I'm so excited for cross. I mean, I know a bunch of the guys who are doing it as well are excited too. I think it's really special to get to do this after doing it every year in college, and realizing that that's kind of the only time that you get to do that, and then getting to recreate that as a pro on an off year is awesome.
How stacked do you think that race is going to be? Because every guy I've talked to, like Graham Blanks said he's going to do it. I just had Connor Manson, his wife, on, which was a fun episode. He's going to do it. It seems like across the board, this is about to be NCAA 2015 through 2025, all the top guys in one race. Gets me excited as a fan of the sport. How excited are you for it? Where it's like, yeah, it's unfortunate, but because the world champs for cross every year, or it doesn't happen every year, generally the US champs is kind of a joke in cross. And it's like this year, man, whoever makes the team, we're going to send a good team.
Yeah. Oh, we definitely are. Yeah, it feels like this is going to be like all the people that I competed against in college and now in the pro scene. It's super exciting. I'm glad so many people are doing it.
How do you prepare for something like that where you haven't done cross many, many years? I'm sure there are specific workouts or things you're doing, but with NCAA cross, you race so much leading into it that your tactics are down. You've experienced things. You maybe had a bad race or two. You had a really good race or two. You kind of know where you're at. Is that going to be interesting going into a race somewhat blind? I'm sure you're going to be very physically prepared, but you haven't raced on grass in forever. What's the mindset there, or tactics there when cross is a little more foreign?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be different running this for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, I think I would say I'm going to be in a lot better fitness than I was in college for cross country. So I'm interested to see kind of like what the like makeup of this race is going to be like in terms of pace and how fast we're going to go out and closing and all of that. Um, yeah, we've been doing a lot of grass workouts right now to kind of prepare for grass terrain, get back into the cross country mindset. But it's going to be different for sure, and it's going to be a shock. And for the first race, like one of two races, hopefully, is like that's the only cross country race I will have run in a long time. That's going to be an exciting experience.
How do you feel the hopes of Team USA will be? As we spoke to, the team is going to be super stacked, have a lot of depth. And as we spoke to on the track side, like American distance running is rising. You can turn on the TV and you can see an American up there competing for a medal. Do you feel like we have a chance to do some damage, both individually and as a team? And how exciting is that?
Yeah, I think we do. I definitely think we do. Uh, yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens this cross country season, but yeah, I mean, I feel like American distance running is only going to go up from here. Um, I'd say definitely, especially like just within the guys that have joined our team this year is they're all going to be right up there. So it's going to be pretty crazy.
I was going to ask you another question about tactics, cross country. I was gonna ask you this. Like, I feel like, as a track athlete, all your races are on the track. Sometimes you'll do some road races. It's a little dependent on the athlete. Do you feel like it'll be nice to break up? Well, let's just talk about 2026 as a whole. No World Championships, no Olympics for the first time in forever, and then you kind of have an interesting start to your season where you do have cross country. Do you feel like mentally this will be a nice year to kind of break up what you'll probably have a very long and successful career, and have a year where you're not thinking about the Olympics or World Championships or running ridiculously fast in BU the second it hits January 1st?
Yeah, I think this is a perfect time for this. Um, Cross country being on and off year is fantastic right now. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what this like Ultimate Worlds thing is going to be like. Um, I'd say that's a bit like of like an orthodox kind of world championship. But it's nice to have a year like this where there's not a major world championship or an Olympic year. We can kind of refocus and do some things that wouldn't normally do on those years.
Let's talk about Nico Young, the 21 hours he's not running or in the gym or focusing on his running. What are some of the interests fall 2025 for Mr. Nico Young?
Hmm. I've gotten pretty into uh, like interior design with my house. That's something that I feel like is always a project. So that's been fun to um, customize that. I have like 70 houseplants, like 60,
Oh
somewhere
my
around that.
goodness.
Um,
How do you water all those? Stay on track of
it's
it.
hard. Yeah, you have to keep track of it. Once you kind of get it down and once you've killed a few plants, you can get onto a routine of keeping them alive and being able to manage that many and knowing like light and all those things. Um, I used to actually have 100 of them, but now I have less.
Oh my
So this is
goodness.
easier. But um, yeah, so that takes time. I've got like some hobbies here and there. I spend a lot of time with friends. Uh, I have I feel like a lot of people probably know this, but I have a dog. He takes up some of my time. He's cool. Uh,
How does he compare to Cobb?
he's a lot bigger than Cobb, and he antagonizes Cobb when he sees him.
He's the bully.
Yeah, he's the bully. Cobb used to be the bully though when he was a puppy, so the roles have reversed.
Do you feel like you spent many years in flag at this point? Do you feel like you're like a flag vet? Like, your spots that people visit, like you know your way around, you know where to go?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like this, it's a small place. You kind of get to know that stuff. Actually, I was gonna say it's a small place, and I feel like you get to know it pretty quickly, but there's always so much more to explore, especially in terms of like running trails. I ran at a couple of new spots this fall that I'd never run at before. But I'd say like, when I have people come visit, pretty well versed in what's going on, which is cool.
Two final questions for you. First one being serious, but doesn't have to be serious. What's the final takeaway message you want to leave with the audience today?
I would say from personal experience, when you're pursuing a goal that you want and you're not getting what you want, uh, to remind yourself that you're trying your best, and that's the best that you can do, even if you're not getting what it is that you want. It's not the point of trying for a goal.
Deep. I'm gonna chew on that one after we hop off this podcast. It's deep, philosophical. I love it. Final question for you, Nico. Kind of going back to some of the lighter stuff we were talking about, but I've been asking a lot of guests recently because when I have on people for the first time, I ask the generic Gordon Ramsay question. But we're in fall. I'm a massive fall lover boy. Fall is my favorite season. I think it's the goat of all the seasons. For you, what's the Nico Young fall essential? It could be a drink, it could be a movie, anything. What's like your number one item on Nico Young's fall list?
Um, I would say a sweater. You've got one on. That's a fall vibe for sure. Um, See me wearing a lot of those in the fall.
Can't
That and
beat it.
like a hot drink.
Can't beat it. What's the favorite hot drink?
Say coffee in the morning and then some kind of tea in the evening, or
Are
like a
you a all
hot
black guy?
cider.
Latte?
Uh,
Cappuccino?
la- Latte.
Okay, good. You're not crazy. I thought you were gonna say black coffee. I was about to log off. I don't.
No, but I know
My
people
mom
like
likes
that.
black coffee. I don't think they. I think they lie to themselves. I think they lie to themselves because they think they're
Maybe.
cool. You're not cool. Give me a
Yeah,
vanilla
that could
latte and
definitely
we're
be true.
good. Yeah. So, anyways, Nico, thank you so much for the time, man. Always love our conversations, and congrats on a crazy successful season. And can't wait to keep following along your career, man.